Okay, hi everybody. This is May the 8th. It's a very good day. Bitcoin is going crazy. I like that. Uh, and I am here with the Minotaur's team. I have Costa, that is the CEO of the company. Sebastian is one of their brains, coder and programmer in the company. Uh, and Marcos is also here. He is coming back, and he will give us a very nice analysis about the liquidity of Bitcoin. Okay, so let's focus on the charts, right? So we start with some of the power law charts. You have a link over there, for if you are interested in getting these charts. There is also a Discord community that you can join. Um, we have about almost 1,000 people in the community. Anyway, so what I'm showing here in this chart, it's some of our main Bitcoin power law charts. Uh, in fact, they are superimposed. Let me maybe turn off one of them so it's a little bit more clear. All right. So this is what we call the bimodal Bitcoin, and it shows few things. First of all, the blue line, it's the major power law, right? What we call the reference power law. It's supposed to be kind of a compromise, right? You see between the peaks and the bottom, right? And it's there are different ways that you could calculate what is called the fair price of Bitcoin, but that is what we consider at the moment probably one of the best. It's like this regression that we do using this idea, right, of taking the log of the price and the log of the time. It doesn't look like a straight line in this graph because it's a log, what is called a log linear chart, right? I take the log of a y, I take the x of a time, and it looks curved. But if we were plotting this on a chart where the log, we take also the log of a time, it will look straight. That is the main thing that this linearity means something, right? This is the important element of the power law. And I extend a little bit to show you where we are going. And the main feature of this chart is that there are two regions, right? By the way, there is also this bottom. This bottom, we believe strongly it has to do with the cost of production of Bitcoin. And look how amazing it is, right? It can catch all the main bottoms, like even during COVID, we didn't cross that line. It's something that you can calculate in different way, but usually it's about 60% from the middle line. Probably this is the real power law, or all the data between the blue line and the white line is what we call the core power law. So we usually spend 2 years, right? If you look at patterns from the past, and the question is still there: are these patterns broken? Right? Because some people started to say we don't have a cycle anymore. I always say it's too early. Yes, it looks different from other cycles. We can look at some of the chart to compare in a moment. But the main thing is that during the bull run, right, when the bull run starts, like I say, we spend 2 years at the core. And the core is not even the support. The support actually is kind of an extreme relatively to where we spend most of the time. We spend most of the time in this region between the blue and the white line. So, some people that don't understand the power law, they say, oh, it's so wide, it can be anywhere. We never say that. Really, the core is almost scarily precise, how close the price is to this core. And you can see these are the deviation. This color green show the line in the middle is the mean, where we usually are, and the price oscillates around there. And the green shows the different range of deviations during this time. Usually, when we leave a core, and I made a prediction, I said, this was like all the way to April of last year. I say, as November comes, guys, get ready for the bull run. And I even predicted the price within few $100s, right? Talk about prophecies. But I did it with math instead of talking to the aliens. Uh, and and, uh, I was right, because this is what happened at the end of the year. We were there, right? We had this bull run, and we went in this what we call the turbulent flow. The turbulent flow, the power law is still there, because you can see we really, this red line is where the power law is, but it looks shifted, and it looks shifted because the distribution of the values is long tailed. It tends to be larger for large deviations. So it's not symmetric like the one in the core. Is it tends to have larger events for positive values. And this is why we go. So it really explains why we have bubbles in the first place. It's power law plus a lot of turbulence, right? It's almost like we go to this turbulent flow in a air, when you're flying or something, and you get a lot of shaking, but it's not symmetric shaking. It tends to shake things up to, actually, when we reach the tops that are, you see, these are large deviations from the trend, these darker areas. You can actually tell where they are going to be. You can identify them. And this is very important, because if we go back to this region, we can use this indicator to tell us when we are too far. And maybe there is a correction. Because if we go to this dark area, we will have a correction. And look at this. There is like a sliver of red there. You see how there is a sliver of red? Because today we just crossed this region and we went back. It's not necessarily just the power law. We have a more sophisticated method. It's called Markov chain, and it finds the two regimes. Actually, I should add a third regime that is like in between. We have this between area, and so no, this is very nice, because we left this turbulent region. It never happened before, at least for so long time. It happened only once here, where we went to this green area when we were supposed to be in the red area, but we did it very, very, very short amount of time, and then we went back. We never had an extended region like this. This is why, it does look different, this cycle, from others, because, we had this correction, we stay there for a long time, but now we are back. Now, is he going to stay back and reach and see? This is the target. I have a target of 200 that is here in this, and it's not really one single point. I wrote a little bar here because it's always a region, right? So it's a region in the last quarter of a year. It doesn't look that crazy, right? Now we have a hope to reach there. Now it needs to be pretty consistent gain. I calculated 0.39% per day, every day, in average, right? To reach that. It's pretty intense. But to give you a reference, last cycle, we went something like 0.45. So, we will need to do for the end of the year, more or less what we did during the last cycle. And then actually slightly less. And then we will reach 200. Where do I get the 200? I get the 200 from this. Let me show you the other indicator when I superimpose on it. So this one, right? So you can actually calculate so while the power law doesn't tell us where these bubbles are going to be, you can use the power law as a reference and then calculate how big the deviations are from the trend. And it turns out they decay. You see this yellow band on top, right? This yellow band, this yellow channel represents this decay. You see how it follows the decay? So I use a formula. There is a formula. That is the beauty of Bitcoin. There is a formula for everything. So there is a formula that tells you how fast this decays, and you derive it from how big the deviations are from the power law, and they seem to decay in time. And then you can extrapolate the decay mathematically. There is nothing drawn by hand here. This is the beauty of our approach. We, different from other people that are all these technical analysis that is all drawn by hand. It's all math. And so you can calculate this decay and project it to the future. And this is what you get. You get 200. Basically, it's a, in the beginning, we had a 10 pair deviation, then 5 pair deviation. The next deviation, if we follow this decay, I take seriously all the information from the coin. It doesn't mean that we need to follow this decay, but if this regularity continue, then this is where you expect the peak to be, 200K. And right now, it's a bullish day, a couple of days. Look at this. I think it's more a coincidence. I will be like a little bit, cheating if I say that is following this. I call it the full model, right? When I include the bubble to the power law, but it's following it almost to a dot. It's almost scary that it's actually following it, we will see. We'll continue to follow it and reach it. We will see. But right now, everything looks good, and we are coming back to this region. So this is what I have to say. Do you guys have any questions on this?
No questions. I'm waiting to see Marcus's analysis though of the liquidation maps to see where it's all converging, because I woke up this morning because I'm in Australia, so all the action happens while I'm asleep. But I woke up and the price was, I think, 97 when I went to bed and 102.2 when I woke up.
Yeah.
So something's happened, and let's see how it all correlates.
Yeah, so Marcus can go next, and then in the end I will show the global liquidity and show how that also converges, that it gives us the same picture that we are going up. But let's go with Marcus first.
Okay. Marcus is up. All right.
Marcus is up.
Let me share my screen here. All right. Okay, so what we're looking at here is a standard trading view chart, daily chart. We are looking at a futures market because futures are where the leverage is at, and where the leverage is at is where the price discovery happens first. So that's why we use futures to discover price. And yes, we have had moving days here. We are on our way, and it's amazing how this correlates with the power law. And as you can see here, I'm going to bring in the liquidity here in a second, but we had something happen right here that gave us a pretty strong move here. We've been watching this for some time. We just didn't know that it was going to be as explosive as it was. You had a level, two big levels right there. So let's see what's behind the move. And that's why liquidity is so important, because it is like chicken and the egg. You need liquidity to influence price, and price influences liquidity. You cannot have one without the other. They are one and the same. They are completely correlated. So here we go. I want to add in the liquidity now. So now we can see what we're looking at here now is we're looking at all of the positions, the composition of positions from 25x leverage, 10x leverage, 5x leverage, all the way down to 3x leverage, which is basically almost like spot. And that composition is all of the positions. Well, this is different than typical heat maps. Typical heat maps can show limit orders and orders that can be canceled and spoofed. These are traders or positions that are in either positive P&L or they are in drawdown. So the longs are positive and the shorts are in drawdown. So these positions are relatively fixed, and those positions are fixed. And these levels are the stop losses and liquidations of all of those positions. So having said that, looking at the daily, we were identifying last week that we had a significant amount of liquidity that had been building since we had the move down, and we had been taking out the long side of the liquidity, right? So we had liquidity that had been building up for some time. We've been in this range for the last 4 months, and we had the long side liquidity was being taken. I'm going to back out to 3 so you can get a little bit better eye picture. And they basically liquidated all the 5x 25x and 10x, 100x, 50x. So that's gone. And then once we hit this low, we begin to reverse and go the other direction. So, and that's been very powerful. As you can see right here, we made a substantial liquidation event. And okay, so now it's pretty safe to say that we have confirmed that we have finished the liquidation process, the harvesting of the shorts, and now we are confidently, significantly beginning to harvest the longs. I'm sorry, the short side liquidity. We completed the long side, and now we're going short. So the premise is very simple. The big institutional players that can actually influence the market, they make price range. Price ranges for a reason because it begins to build up liquidity, and over time, that liquidity begins to intensify in composition, and then it gets harvested. So when the liquidity gets significant, it's harvested, as you can see here. So we harvested all the longs, they're out. And now what the institutions do is they harvest the longs. So all these liquidations are forced to sell low, and they take it up, and then they liquidate the shorts, and they're forced to buy high. So it's the opposite of what you should be doing. You're selling low and buying back high. So that's how the big markets makers and institutions play the game. They just play it over big time frames. So as you can see here, they've picked up all this inventory, and now they're starting to carry it up here because you have locked in buyers here. They're locked. So here's the price projections here. Giovanni was saying that we're looking at 200. It's amazing because last week we were right here and right here, and we weren't sure where we're coming back down to retest, and the market just got right back on the power law time frame really quick. It's amazing how it just snapped into place all of a sudden. So the price projections for the actual trap liquidity is coming in at about 136 to 140. So that's up here. So we have that locked in. That's a high probability. It's a very deep concentration right there. So what happens is the price, we're extended here. We might continue to take out this zone here, and then we might be due for a pullback, and then we start this process, right? So when we get over here, when we finally get here, you're not gonna go straight up. So let's say you ebb and flow, and then the market will. This is how I calculate how far we could potentially go past. Let's look at the last short liquidation event before we got into the new range. So we'll add another $20,000 or 25% on top of the range. So now that we did that, let's add 25% on top of this range. So now we're at 140. Let's go 140, 25% on top. Puts us at about 165. Sorry, Giovanni. I can't get you all the way there, but I can get you close. I can get you close. So what we're looking at.
Not yet. We have a few months.
Yes. So we come in.
That is July, right? By July, we should go to 160. Then we take a break, and then we go to
yeah. Then we start forming new liquidity up here and new liquidity down here. So what happens is we break out, we liquidate all of this trap short liquidity up to 140, and then the market goes past it another 25% to create a new range, and then the process starts all over. So that puts you at about that, that in that range of 200. And where do I get that confluence of that? Is just go back in history when we liquidated last summer, and then we moved into this range. We don't just stop at the top of the liquidation pool. We go past it to create a range. So that's where we got that calculation, and it lines up with the power law. So that's what I got. That's my 2 cents on that.
It's 1 Bitcoin, not 2 cents. It's
one. That's my
valuable, very valuable analysis.
That's my Satoshis.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Okay, it looks good. Tell me something. Why these two layers? Right, I see 2 layers here of red.
Yeah.
what do they represent? Why people create these layers? What is the idea behind it?
When you say you're talking about this
Yeah,
area right
two
here.
red clouds, two red clouds. I'm trying to
Yeah.
understand better.
He's talking
Okay.
about the coloration
Right
differences
here.
around the
Yeah.
liquidity markers.
Yeah, why
Yeah.
do we see two? I will imagine most of them were just one single area, right? But they are
Yeah.
like
It gets formed like this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take off the 3x, take off the 5x, and that's
okay.
25x. Then when you add in the 10x,
Different
the
leverages.
the more
Okay,
the
yes,
more leveraged it is, the closer it is to the price, obviously. So there's your
yeah, makes
10x,
sense. It makes
there's your
complete sense.
5x, and what happens is they are overlapping, right? So there is 10 here and 5x there. That's a lot of
Yeah.
buildup there. And then we will put the 3x in, we can kind of see everything, and it's all overlap, just a huge concentration. Now this concentration got built up right here when the market took a big fall. Everybody and their mother jumped in and opened up short positions, as you can see right here.
Yeah,
And it just made it even bigger, and they kept shorting. And this level is how many percents from price? It was that's 15%. So you to have a 15% stop loss or liquidation level, you need to be trading 10x and 5x. So that's how it gets built in. So that's
yeah.
about that's accurate. Yep.
It
Yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I like this because you kind of told us right in the past
Yeah.
that may come and we will see some movement up, etc. Right, and we were
Yeah.
going to.
Yeah. We were saying that they're starting to harvest the longs. They
Yeah,
just we just didn't know they were going to move this quickly. But when you think about it, it's amazing how the power law just tends to predict. In other words, the market might get off track or get off course for a little while, but then it snaps right back to the time frame of the power law.
yeah.
It gets right back in there.
It's an attractor. It
Mhm.
goes there.
Yeah.
It wants to
Yeah.
go there.
Yeah.
Yeah, very good.
All right.
And um, yeah, and it's too early to see what will happen in the end of the year, right? Because usually these projections can go just a few months ahead of us, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
I mean
Yeah.
the liquidity builds out live as
So
the
yeah.
market moves. So
Yeah,
So it'll probably, like you were saying, just in my little sketch here, you're looking at like August or so, right? So then
hmm
you start building a liquidity pool up here that gets you to 200, right? Well, when are you going to harvest the pool? It's going to take a couple of months or so to harvest, right? So that puts you at the end of the year. That's November right there for potential harvest of this
right.
new pool, right? Come down, you harvest that one. That's the end of the year.
But there's not do you have a harvesting of that bottom? Do you think? Oh, you've got that correction.
Yeah,
So once we go back into range, what
you
about
could.
collecting?
You
Yeah,
could tap into it, yeah, but that's going to still keep you in the vicinity of
yeah,
where you broke out at.
yeah.
Yeah.
Guys, see some of the question. From what I understand, and Marcus can correct me because I'm still trying to learn from him. It's very dynamic, right? It's no, you can tell these kind of things ahead, right? And you can
Mhm.
tell where we are going, but getting the right level, because it's something that happens all the time, right? If we have a movement like this where we are going up, there is liquidity. You have to see where the new liquidity is from, right?
Right.
So not necessarily we go back to 70 when there is a lot of liquidity being formed at 80, So we need to
yes,
go through that 80 liquidity first.
Right.
So
Look what happened here, for example. When we broke out of the 2024 summer, right, we liquidated all the shorts here, and that put us in a new range. Just like
yeah,
Casa's saying, we might dip back into it a little bit, but we tend to stay at the new level. We don't give it back up.
yeah,
So when we get to the top of this one, we might cut into that level a little bit, but typically we're going to at least stay in this new zone when we get here. So we'll be up here. Yeah.
yeah. So
No.
it's not written in stone. It's very dynamic.
No,
It's
it's
already
dynamic.
amazing that we get all this
Yeah.
information. We can understand more or less where we're going. This is why we do these shows
Yeah.
every week, because we want to give you the
yeah,
most recent update. Otherwise, we'll tell you, okay, this is what happened for the next 5 months, you know,
Yeah.
it's
I'll
very
tell you
dramatic.
what. I'll tell you what though. If anyone listening wants a little trick, just hold where you are, Marcus. Tell them to take a screenshot right now and put that into ChatGPT and ask them what's the percentage likely that top liquidity will get taken out when it looks like this, and see what response ChatGPT gives you. There's a very, very high chance that it's going to get taken out.
Typically, historically, it tends to take the liquidity, especially once the bottom
It's
side
not a
liquidity has been
certain,
taken.
but when it's this hot, it is red hot.
I mean,
Especially with the pockets, right? The
just
red pockets indicate that there's hot liquidity there as well.
let's just use history as our guide, right? I mean, look what happened in this area here in 2024. Once it got heavy composition, right? It makes sense. If you're institutions and there's thousands of institutions with thousands of algorithms all running programs, right? It makes sense to harvest it when it's thick, right? So they broke it out here. They harvest the shorts right here, right? All of it. And here we are again. This looks very familiar, right? It's even more than it was last time. I mean, that's just locked in billions of dollars just sitting there. And it's going to be taken like it was taken before. That's how it works. The market's fractal. They're going to get that. And then we start the process all over again, because after the harvesting is done, right? Like here, you don't have any liquidity. So the market has no fuel. So what does it do? It ranges to build in new liquidity. So the process repeats itself. So it just takes time to do that.
Yeah.
You know, if you have $1 billion position, you're not going to put a market order in there. You're going to break it down. Take some months to fill that.
Yeah,
that's right. That's why retail traders tend to, as me and Marcus like to say, often play directly into the hands of the institutions, right?
Yeah.
They fill the gaps and then it gets taken.
Yeah, if you're trying, the most retailers, they're trading in here. They're trading in this. Half the people think it's going to go up, half the people is going to go down, and the market makers or the algorithms are playing your eyes with all this chop. You're trading in this chop and you're getting chopped up. All they're doing with all this chop is building up the liquidity to come lock you in and harvest you out later.
That's right. The second there's enough, they're going to take it.
They're going to take you out.
That's unless you've got an algorithm like ours. So I want to line up the date. I want you to just run there to December the 1st, Marcus. Just put your mouse on where December the 1st is of 2024.
All right.
We can see where the market started ranging, right? About there.
Yeah. December. The start of the new zone. Okay, it started.
Yeah, now put that at the far left so we can see what today's price as well.
Right here.
So we're almost and then move it to the left so we can see where we are today. So we can see. Yeah, you're good. Yeah, cool. Yeah. All right, so basically we've been ranging. We've had this crash down almost to 79. Let's call it. And we're almost back where we are. So for pretty much everyone, nothing's happened in terms of price. They're just back where they started. Unless you had the algo. I want to bring up just quickly if I can share my screen. I know a lot of people see here to have a look at performance. And we've been running, obviously, the Minotaur algorithm this whole time. And I wanted to give just the people on the live stream an idea of, this is the algorithm that Giovanni is using, that we use on our personal accounts as well. If you enable my screen, let's just line it up exactly how it was there. It should be popping up now. Perfect. All right. So, we all know how the algo performs. We've all seen this screen before, but let's just have a look down here at the actual performance. So I'm using the date range. So we can see from the listed trades, we'll go all the way back to the 1st of December when that started happening. So overall, we've had a 29% gain. If we compare that to the buy and hold today, Bitcoin's only done 6%. So during that whole time frame, our algos managed to make a net profit of 28%. And basically Bitcoin is from December the 1st up only 6%. So, that was completely hands-off automated trading using our algorithm. And, Giovanni, you can attest to the performance of the algo as well. But this is what it looks like. When you have the right strategy and you're automated and you're not emotional and you let the price and the volatility do its thing, we have a system here that can capture that volatility. And, this is what it gives us, performance.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I can attest, and my curve actually looks better than this.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It does.
yeah.
I
It's
think
Your
I'm
more.
using
your
that.
It's
your,
more.
your curve your curve has the total just the end of the deals. This has the individual trades, so it's a little bit
Right.
more lumpy. Yeah,
Yeah, a little bit more hockey
Yeah.
stick on Giovanni.
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah. Guys, what I want to say, a few things to describe this algorithm. First of all, it doesn't use your Bitcoins because there are some misunderstanding, right? One is we don't give, you are not sending Bitcoins to somewhere with the hope of getting them back, right? They are in
No.
your account. Um, Usually we suggest Bybit. We were talking with Costa because there are many people that are interested in the US, and right now there are not many places where you can trade futures in
We
the
have a
US.
solution for US people. If they book a call, we'll show them the solution that we
Yeah,
have that we
and
can.
soon as supposedly Coinbase is going to, in fact, they just announced it. They're going to
Yes.
have futures trading on their platform, so the US people
Yes.
will be able to participate too, without other solutions. And so we don't touch your money. You put it in your account. The best thing I will suggest, I will not trade less than 20, 30,000, because otherwise it's not worth it. And and you get very good result. My friend put 97,000, basically one Bitcoin, and we had a month. We didn't trade for a month because there was a technical problem with his account that has nothing to do with the bot, and he made $15,000.
Yeah,
Like, and it's not just one time off. Like I had the same experience. I tested the algo. They told me, oh, we have this algo. It's based on the power law. I was very skeptical. And I started to see immediately results, but I was telling people about my results, like an experiment, like a scientific experiment, and people were begging me, can you show us how to get it, I said, please let me test it, and it took me many, many months before I was convinced. And I am, and I will never, never, never advise to with my community because, I care about it, care about you guys. If I didn't use it myself and I use it, uh, it's amazing. It's one of these things because we have days like this, right? That are amazing and Bitcoin goes up. But then what? What do you do with it, right? What if there is a correction? Well,
yeah.
we make money and we buy more Bitcoin. And then guess
Right.
what? There are times when Bitcoin doesn't do much. It just goes up and down. And bet is basically Bitcoin, right? There are extended time. You can see, like, what happens? Bitcoin basically follow the power law during these times. And it stays there. It stays for a long time. It doesn't look like it's doing much because the power law, it's a very long trajectory. And during this time, guess what? The bot uses the volatility of Bitcoin because Bitcoin has two main characteristics: this long trajectory that is so predictable, and then a lot of volatility. It's like the best of both worlds, right? And we can use this volatility as our friend. So I will never tell you put all your Bitcoin in the exchange. It will be absurd. Take a small percentage, like 10%, right? You can be, all of us are hodlers, but with a little bit of flexibility where we take 10% of our holding and we are a little bit more aggressive. And the result is we get more Bitcoin. That's
Yeah.
all what we want to do. This is our goal. We are all Bitcoiners. I don't want cash. I immediately convert that cash into Bitcoin. Some of you could use it to pay bills, but I will not, right? I would rather buy Bitcoin with it. Most of us want to have more and more Bitcoins. So this is the goal of a bot. It's just one
Yeah,
of the
and
tools.
and it's a tool to generate cash flow. You don't even need to use your Bitcoin. You can just use USDT
Yeah.
and just trade it and just generate cash flow. It works really well. I wanted to just bring to sight, this trade here particularly and where we are here. There's, even when the market's running, we've got certain features, and maybe Sebastian can discuss this, but you can see here that we've actually built in intelligence into the bot and into our algorithm, where we have a take profit level, which was this green line here. But our indicator knew that it was, quite bullish and the market was running up, and it actually held on right. You can see almost
Yeah.
to the top of the peak, and that's where it's ended up selling. So a take profit of around 4.9%, which is what the fixed profit is actually closed out at around 11% on that, which is, that was one on the 2nd of April. And this is the one today. We see here, it's done the same thing. From 5%, we've gained an additional, call it 1.49%. So that's the bot actually. Yeah, go, Sebastian.
Yeah, well, I can just quickly touch on that. And, like we always say, it's a Swiss Army knife. And, it's important to understand that it's not just about structuring the strategy in the way you want. You can structure everything. Now, what's happening here is we've got 4 or 5 different ways to set up the take profit. So if you're someone that likes to capture these larger swings in Bitcoin's price and has the patience to do so, we've got the trailing tools to give you that. Or if you're someone that actually prefers to get in and out of the market much faster, we have the ability to do that also. So the take profit can be completely dynamically adjusted down to the point where we can also adjust it to a break-even status if that's something that people want. So, you can really bring the way you like to trade Bitcoin also, and our systems and tools can allow you to do that. So it can be bespoke also. The other last point I wanted to make, and this is for Giovanni as well, discussing earlier about his experience with the algorithm. The beautiful thing and most important thing is not just seeing how the algorithm performs when the market's moving up, but Giovanni actually got to see how the algorithm performed during a nearly 40% correction. Because remember, it wasn't that long ago when we hit 110 and went straight back down to 74. Now, in that period, everyone all of a sudden, as crypto people are, they're quite fickle. They start saying Bitcoin's dead, all these sorts of things. But Giovanni can attest to how the algorithm handled that drop and also produced a profit on top of that, right, Giovanni?
Yeah, and in the beginning was scary because you see, because look, I like to, me, right? I like to be honest all the time. The algo is clever, but it doesn't know what is the next move. It can kind of follow the momentum and say, okay, I'm not going to close my trade here. I'm going to wait a little bit, but sometimes it gets excited. Right now, it would like to open position as we go up. What happens if you have a correction? Well, you start to see the algorithm being in red, but I knew the idea behind it, and I knew it was going to DCA down, and I started to see it was exactly doing that. What really convinced me when I look at this chart and I say, what the heck is finding all the local minimum, is finding all the local maxima, it really there is thought behind this algorithm. And look, I coded algorithms for almost like 15, 20 years. It's not easy. It's not easy at all. And I never saw this level of precision. This is incredible. And I was really in awe. I say, wow, there is real intelligence. And I started to see it. The algorithm is DCAing down. They started to buy the dips, like people say, I'm going to buy the dip. I don't have to worry about buying the dip. My algo is doing it by itself without even putting additional cash because it's using my collateral. It's using the Bitcoin you're putting in as a collateral. And then,
yes,
I had a position where it was open for a little while. And there were times where I was worried. You say, okay, I have a drawdown. And then when it closed recently, right? Because you can always count. What I like about this company is only focus on Bitcoin. And the premise is, look, Bitcoin sooner or later is going up because this is what Bitcoin does, right? If you're a Bitcoiner, that is your premise. That is where you live, right? That is your mental space. And eventually, if you trust that, okay, I don't care. Eventually, it will correct itself. Then when it corrects, because I was DCing all the way down to 80,000, I got $5,000 closing gain when it finally closed the position. You get this huge big gain all at once that makes up for whatever time you were waiting. It's all proportion. In fact, one day actually I want to study. I guess there is some kind of scaling proportion there between the time that you wait and your gains. So look, nothing is infallible. Nothing is zero risk, but I'm really impressed by the team and how they are there for helping people, me included. And we work all the time together, and we are trying to come up with new ideas of how to integrate power law principles in the algorithm, and it's a powerful tool. So I would, it's something that people should explore.
Yeah, it's a really good point.
Yeah, and if people want to meet us face to face, we're doing event in Las Vegas, and it's coming up in around 20 days.
Do you have like a
Yeah.
little flyers to let
Yeah.
us know?
Yeah, so we're going to, it's actually invitation only, just because it's a private event. So if you are interested in coming, Giovanni can post the Google form, because we're doing pre-invites. You can RSVP with us.
Yeah, guys, sorry to interrupt you, Costa. Just DM me and tell me you're interested, because we have already an invitation list. But if you're really motivated and you want to come, we have still few places. We're going to have food, dancing girls, right?
Dancing
No, we don't want dancing girls. It's too distracting. We want to focus, right? But we are going to have some food, right? Some refreshments and food, right, Costa?
Yeah, and that's why we want to get some numbers so we can get a really bit of an idea of the numbers. Yeah.
Who's coming? So DM me and tell me I would like to come to the event, and we can give you an invitation. So please send me a DM on X.
Yeah, for sure. It's you can meet Giovanni in person, and I guess by 20 days, it should be exciting. I think the way the price is moving will be very exciting.
Very good. And maybe if we have a couple of minutes, we can take question. But I wanted to share this chart first. So we spent just a couple of minutes on it. This is so Marcus talked about the the local liquidity, basically liquidity that has to do with Bitcoin itself. This chart is more about global liquidity. So it shows basically this indicator is one of the main indicators that I have. In this case, what I'm doing, the purple line here is the global liquidity, mostly M2. You can try to find more sophisticated form of liquidity, but M2 works good enough. And the trick here, this is why you see this, you see how is extended to the future, right? So many of you probably are familiar with this idea. The main difference between this chart and others that you may have seen is that I don't plot liquidity by itself. So this is where the price ends, right? You see here. But this is a model of a price based on the liquidity. So it's a little bit better because I'm actually using the relationship between the price and the liquidity to make a model of a price, what the price is supposed to be according to this relationship. And this is what you're seeing. The green line is kind of smoothing. I smooth first and then I fit later, right? It's not just smoothing of the purple line, but then basically the two are in agreement. And you can see how if we took this seriously in December, we will have known that we were going to be a correction. I was looking at it, people were talking about it, but I was not yet convinced that this thing is there. And I did a lot of study. I never do just, it looks like that. I did a lot of statistical studies. And actually, yes, like 70% of the time when global liquidity goes up, the price also goes up, about something like that. It's a little bit less when we go down, like something like 60%. But there is a strong correlation between these two things. And if it continues, it's crazy, right? Because we are going to have a run up. And look at that. Marcus was talking about 110, 120, right? If we really go across the first liquidity level, and the model predicts more or less the same. Again, around the same range of July, August. So it's really cool to see all this convergence. You never want to rely on one single indicator. You want to use many. And when we have a convergence of many indicators pointing all in the same direction, you have a little bit more confidence, right? So it's really cool. This one is mostly showing the winning rate. So it's a way of looking at, basically an oscillator. So the orange is the liquidity. The reason why we can project in the future, again, many of you are familiar, maybe some of you don't know, is that it looks like there is a delay between the liquidity and the price. People debate what this delay is. I found 85 days based on all my statistical studies to be optimal for delay. It's never one precise thing. It could be 90 days, 100 days, but there is a delay. And that is cool because you can look ahead and tell where we are going. It's not, I will not take it as, oh, it has to be 100%, but it's very nice to see all this convergence, including this, right? That there is a lot of liquidity and Bitcoin seems to follow very closely this liquidity. Okay, you guys want to take some questions?
Yeah, and I just wanted to say as well, like it's really interesting now what's going on because you were kind of the canary. What is it? What's the canary in the coal mine in December? Everyone was talking about super cycles, prices never going down again, and you were saying the liquidity is not there. And then, we've had almost, it was a 30-35% correction. There's no more talk of super cycles. It looks like your model is exactly on track once again. And this is why
that is true. So I was not taking seriously this delay because if we took it seriously, it was clear what was going to happen. But I was repeating almost every time I was having a show, guys, we don't have enough.
Something's wrong. I remember you saying something's wrong.
No,
something's
you were
off
very
this
clear
trail.
about that. He was saying it every day.
Liquidity is going down.
Yeah.
I don't know what is happening here. I don't trust it. I don't think Sailor and the ETFs are enough. I was repeating this every single time. And because, the data is there, the charts are, if you know what to read in the charts, the information is there. And then when people were talking about, okay, it's done, we're going down, it's like I don't understand these people. They're always saying the opposite of, what is going to happen. Everybody call the cycle over, etc. It's not that we don't know yet, right? We need to go up above it. Power law, we need to stay there for a long time. We will see. But again, it was premature to call the cycles off, right? So it's possible that we go back. It's different. We have a tariffs. We had this interval of time when, we went below this core region when we are supposed to be in the turbulent region. But it's good. Everything looks good. So hopefully we are going to have several months of bullish behavior. We can kind of adjust. The important thing is always how you adjust to whatever is happening, right? Because Bitcoin, we know where Bitcoin is going over the longer term. It's going to 1 million, it's going to 10 million. But what are we doing in the meanwhile, right? Can we multiply our Bitcoin? That is our goal. And we want to help people with that goal. That is what we are dedicated to,
100%.
Okay, so let's take some questions. So one of these is this one, to 200K still likely, or maybe just, so we don't know, right? We don't know. We don't have enough information for that. I will say, as I explained, right, that 200K is not out of the question because it's May. We have about, other 7 months by the end of the year. Usually now, can the peak happen in January? Yes, right. There is no anything written in stone that says, oh, we need to have a, usually, there are reasons like, for example, many companies, they do their book keeping at the end of the year, right? So for tax reason, maybe there is a reason to have the end of the year as a reference, right? And this is historical what happened, that we had all the peaks just before the end of the year. So this is where I focus on saying when we are going to have a peak, if we have a peak. 200K is based on this decay, like I say, 80% deviation from the trend. Only by power law alone, if we continue to follow the power law that we have done very closely all this time, we are going to 130. And 80% plus 130 gives us 200K. Now, it's not possible because, like I say, that will mean about 0.4% every single day. And Bitcoin has done that last of course, these cycles are, the volatility is smaller with time, but 0.4 is smaller than 0.45. It was the average return last year. So it can be done. It's challenging. Now, 150, 180, it's within that. Think always about ranges, right? Never think about one single value. If somebody gives you 444, right, it's full of crap, because maybe you got it right once, but the next time is not going to get it right. Believe me. And it's always a range. It's always a range. So 180, 150, it's more likely than 200, but 200 is not out of the question. So this is my position on that.
Yeah, and I think this big pump today is just showing how quickly it can still move.
Right.
We were talking yesterday in our own meeting that 106 in 7 to 10 days from now is very unlikely, but in 102,005 is definitely possible by the time I wake up tomorrow morning. It's moving quick.
So what people are asking about, if we have a correction, where we are going, Marcos? We are going to 80, we are going to 70. Can we tell?
I think you're on mute.
Oh, sorry for that. There was some background noise. Just let me correct that. Just a second. I muted Marcos because there was some background noise. But go ahead. You're unmuted.
Yeah, I mean, now that we are harvesting the short side, I think it's very promising that we're going to be going up, because one thing the market typically doesn't do is take out longs and shorts at the same time. So now that we're harvesting the shorts, that means they're taking the inventory up, and it won't go in a straight line. It's going to be some ups and downs, and ebbs and flows, but we are definitely going in the up direction right now.
It's a little bit, from what I understand, it's a little bit like predicting weather, right? And it's not that people think predicting weather is just, bullshit. It's not. It's
seasons,
not. Right?
The seasons, not the days. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Exactly. So, you can tell. Okay, we are approaching summer, right? There are all these signs that the temperature is going up, etc. But the local weather can change, right? Because it's more difficult to predict that, right? It's just that, in general, we are seeing where we are going. If there is an update like this, okay, because the market can go up or down, right? But when it goes up, when you start to see how strongly up is going, right? So it's still probabilistic, If we had a way of predicting 100%, what will happen if we had a way of predicting 100%? The market will be flat.
Yeah,
it won't work. It won't work. No one's going to make anything.
It will not
work.
It's actually a good thing that is not predictable 100%, because otherwise there will be no leverage for us. Actually, I heard yesterday Andre Jik, that guy that made me famous. He had a good point. He was saying, why Bitcoin is still such a good investment? Because so many people don't believe on it. Yeah. If everybody believed in Bitcoin, Bitcoin will be flat. It will be flat. It will be over. And so actually the fact that we are still few of us, it's what makes this thing go up, because there is still uncertainty. There is still game there, for things to move up and so on. And we are the ones that we are on the side of history. When I invested 13 years ago, many of you were not there. It's not because I'm better than you, but I was taking a risk. I was taking a huge, big risk at that time, and that I got rewarded because I was taking that huge, big risk. I could have lost everything. So I think this is a perfect time for being a Bitcoiner, because your risk is so small. I think it's actually the most solid investment in the entire world. I would not want to put money in anything else, but everybody else in the world, like 99% in the world, doesn't know that. You know it, they don't, and this is what makes you good investor and clever person, because you're going to take advantage of this. This is the power of Bitcoin, but it's still something that many people don't realize, they don't trust, So that is where it is. It's volatility and uncertainty is our friend. It's just that We want to have just a little bit of edge, and you don't need much, right? We are going to Las Vegas, right, for the conference. If you were able to play at Las Vegas with 52%
No, you don't
chance of winning, you will be the casino. You will break the casino.
They'll kick you out very
They will
quickly.
kick you out. You need a little bit of advantage, and you need to how to use it. That is the entire thing.
Mm-hmm. That is true.
Okay.
And that's what we provide. A little bit more of an advantage. You need the tools.
I can answer this question for you if you want, Giovanni. So,
Absolutely.
yes, we absolutely can trade against USDC. We have a number of users doing this, so absolutely have the capability to do that. We can do USDT, USDC, and we can use Bitcoin as collateral as well. So all of those are available options for our clients and users.
Yeah, we can run it on just about anything, under the sun. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
Very good. And we are expanding our vision, because it's maybe too early to announce it, but Costa can say. But we are trying to think about creating some kind of a school where people can learn about these things, education. It's a community. It's not just buying a bot, right? You're joining a community, and we want to educate people. We want to learn together, and we are exploring all these options. When Costa will do the announcement of the community, kind of give you a glimpse of what we are building, you will be amazed. It's a really incredible thing. There will be many different level of participation, different tools, I will be there giving lectures on the power law if you are interested, all kind of different things. So we want to build a community of Bitcoiners. We want, look, hodling. I know that many people listen to these influencers that are hodler fanatics, and hodling is great. We are all hodler, 90%, but our angle is slightly different. Why don't we use other tools so we can have more Bitcoin without doing something crazy? Because we are not selling some stupid memes coin. We are not trying to be degen here. We are trying to be very rational and using our mind and knowledge, to get an advantage. That is the entire goal.
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. And this sort of, we're really going to be expanding our offering towards probably, I think now it's looking around Q3 of this year. What having an algorithm like what we have, it's like going from a screwdriver to an electric drill, right? It's really going to allow you to get a superior performance to pretty much everyone, but you still need to know, nothing is foolproof. You need to know how to manage the system as well. You need to know how to understand the system. So by providing the right education, it means that you can get more out of this tool that we're giving you.
Right.
This is why someone like Marcus is able to take the tool and turn it from a Mercedes-Benz into a Ferrari, right? But you need to be able to educate yourself. You need to understand, you got to learn how to drive it. So there's a lot more than just, and this is why we're a trading system. We're not just a bot. A bot just simply executes trades, right? That's a very simple thing to do. A system is something that's much more holistic. It's about risk management. It's about understanding where you are in the market. It's about allocating capital. It's about managing a portfolio. So all these things are beyond the scope of just a bot, and that's what we do as a company. So we have a holistic approach to this algorithmic trading. So it's much more in depth. And there's much more to it than I guess what some people think. A bunch of entries and exits on a trading view screen. That's just the beginnings of it. Maybe Sebastian can elaborate.
Well, all those things. I mean, you made the point already, but all those things have to be in tandem with each other, right? Because I think a lot of people think this is a system where you click a button, turn it on, and then you just never have to do anything. That's not the reality. It's very, very good, and it's going to essentially fly on autopilot for you. But understanding a financial market and understanding how to manage your risk, your liquidation levels, these are as important as the functionality of the bot, and they go hand in hand. And that's really where we want to take this. Is we've built the tools to trade, but we want to give everyone the level of education they need to be able to successfully use these tools in the market. It's really important.
Yeah,
absolutely. And guys, what about this question?
Yeah, so basically, we're also going to have a booth set up for the whole of the conference. So all 3 days, and then the first day is an industry day, but then the 2 main days. So you can come and talk to us. We're going to be doing live demos. You can meet us. You can book a call with us, and then the event that we're doing with Giovanni is actually on top of that. That's going to be on the closing night in the afternoon, just before all the parties start. So we're going to kind of squeeze in between the event, and then you're going to have a couple of hours with our Giovanni, and then you can go on and go to some of the closing parties that they're throwing. But yeah, you'll be able to come and speak to us live. But yeah, we will be doing a small, short class alongside Giovanni at that event. Yeah.
And Alex, send me if you're on X, send me
Yeah, let's RSVP you, Alex, if you want to come.
Send me a DM and ask me to an invitation for the event. Okay, I'm going to, if you don't know where to find me here, I'm going to put it in the YouTube comments. This is my X, so come to visit me.
Yeah,
follow me, and then ask for an invitation.
Awesome, great, Alex. Yeah, RSVP, and we'll see you there. Very excited to meet everyone, actually.
Great.
And and I think this is one of the other points I wanted to make. Like, there's a lot of uncertainty around what we do because it's in crypto, and there are admittedly a lot of people that don't do the right things, but what you get from Minotaur is you get to meet us in person. We do these live events on YouTube. You get to see our faces. You get to discuss things with us. But the most important thing with Giovanni keeps iterating is that we don't get any of your funds. You never send us the funds. The funds are always held in your exchange. You look at us like we're the strategy providers and consultants. And that our job ends there, and educators. That's it. We never receive your funds. We never control your funds. You can turn the bot off at any time and withdraw everything instantly if your exchange allows you to. It is an important point because we get a lot of these trolls, and it's like, how can we do anything nefarious when we don't even have your money?
They're not trolls, because some people got hurt, from these things. I still remember myself, like, send us 10 Bitcoin and we'll send you 20 back.
Oh, yeah.
Must
have worked on some people, though, I have to say.
It works on a lot of people, unfortunately. But yeah, just remember, we're giving you tools.
Don't say anything negative about these people, because all of us did stupid things at any point. I have nice people that work hard. Like, for example, in my Discord, there are pieces of shit everywhere, right? There are people that they have my face and they take my name and then contact my community. It's not just me. There are people that get contacted by Johnny Depp, and they think they are talking to Johnny Depp. But look, all of us can do mistakes, right? And there are some people that got hurt by these things, because they are good people. They trust others. They want to. In particular, people like me, they see my picture. Oh, this is Giovanni, and then they get hurt, right? By the way, if anybody contact you like that, say send me money or whatever, and it's me, it's not me. So absolutely, I would never do anything like that. Double sure, that we have the same Discord in common and so on. Always double check if something is too good, then probably it's fake. And this is why we never tell you, you're going to double your money in 3 months. That is bullshit. It's all, it's reasonable. It's like my friend, he was making what Daddy was doing is like 5, 6, 7% a month. And he started to tell me, this is one of my best friends. He said, can we push it to 20? No, I mean, we could, but in fact, me and Marcos met together and we say, let's tune it down, let's tune it down a little bit, because it's doing too well, it's doing too well. Let's tune it down so it doesn't have this crazy expectation that is because you're taking risk, right? You're making more risky. Yes, we could do 20, 30, whatever, but then it becomes really risky. And we don't want that. We want you to keep your Bitcoin, not to get in trouble, because capital preservation, it's the rule number one for any investor. You don't want to use your, because it took a long time for you to get that money, and you should never lose it. That is our priority number one. And so we'd rather you to make 4% a month and keep your money than trying to show you, oh, we can do 20%, and it's scam. It's a scam. So we don't do that.
Yeah.
Right.
All right. Do you have any concluding remarks, Guy? Anything you want to say? Because we can wrap it up.
No, I'm good.
No,
There's no
nothing
more
from
questions.
us. Just anyone that's going to come to the live conference, just please come drop past our booth. I'm happy to do a live demonstration one-on-one as well with my laptop for anyone that wants to see, and we'll have a lot of different things set up. So we're really excited to meet anyone, regardless of whether you're interested in buying our products or not. Just come drop past, say hello, and we're excited to meet everyone.
Yeah, and I will be there to maybe with a power law charts, and we can talk about the power law, whatever, if you have any questions or whatever. Okay, then it was a nice meeting. We will be here next Thursday. This is something that is going to happen every single Thursday, so put it in your calendar every time, 5:30 PST.
Yep.
All right, guys.
All right.
See you soon. See you in
trading.
Vegas.
Thanks, everyone.
When is the next meet? We are not going to have another meeting before the conference, right? Yeah, at least one.
One more, right?
Yeah, no, I think there's two.
Two more.
Actually, two more.
Okay, and then the conference. Okay,
And then the
great.
conference, yeah.
All right. Thank you, guys, to listen.
Thank you, Giovanni.
See you soon.
All right. Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.